Hello and welcome to Season 7, Episode 2 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, I've got a couple of live comms for you. Firstly, we've got the away game against Rotherham, and then we've got the home game against Charlton, as requested in a comment. Let's get into how we got to this point, though. It's been a pretty good month, actually. We started it off by going away to Bristol Rovers in the Capital One Cup, and we beat them 1-0 thanks to a goal from Virginio Miraglia, who was in the side. We actually rotated a little bit for this game. Bristol Rovers aren't the best team, and I wanted to just have a look at some of the more fringe players, and a few of them have really staked a claim for a more regular place in the side, most notably Miraglia and Kundai Benyu, who got man of the match in that match and actually set up the Miraglia goal. We then went away to Hull and beat them 2-0, goals from Miraglia and Sterling. Ambrose still wasn't fit at this point, so Miraglia started ahead of Sterling. Sterling then came on, I think he came on for Miraglia in the 82nd minute, although he could have come on for Tommy Orr. I can't remember now. But either way, the two youngsters both scored. We played pretty well. James Tavernier picking up one of many Man of the Match awards that he's had over this little run. He's been in amazing form, and we got off to winning ways finally in the Championship. We continued that run at home to Bristol City. A couple of days later, beat them 2-1. Goals from Jan-Erik Delanley and a Keziah Sterling penalty. Ambrose was finally fit again for this match. He made it through 70 minutes. He was by no means fully fit. Was replaced, I believe, by Sterling, who scored the penalty, and then Bristol City got one back in the 90th minute, but we never looked like losing that game. We then beat Watford 3-2. We're closing in on a full strength side at this point. I've decided to go with Nikolai Dane and Jan Zeman together at the back. I know I said they are a bit young, but they're so much better than the other players we had. So I played them together quite a bit. I think this was the first time I played them together. We won 3-2. We were actually 2-0 up through Ambrose and Orr, but then they got back into it. It was 2-2 after 76 minutes. But then Keziah Sterling, who'd come on as a substitute for the injured Tommy Orr, got the winner on 79 minutes, which I think was 3 goals in 3 games for Sterling, all 3 of them coming off the bench as well. So he started this season just the way he started last season, in fantastic goal-scoring form. Rather less positively, Tommy Orr tore his calf muscle in that match and is now going to be out for 3 to 4 months. It's pretty much the same length of injury as Lasse Viggen Christensen had at this time last season, and he's probably just as much of a key player as Christensen is. Why have we been punished like this 2 seasons in a row, losing a key man so early on for so long? What that has meant is Sebastian Kirk came into the game for the next match. We actually got Southampton in the second round of the Capital One Cup again. If you remember, we played them last season, beat them 3-0 away, I believe, and that was what actually kick-started our charge up the table. We'd been pretty poor in the league up until that point, but we went away to Southampton. It was the first time we'd played Ambrose up front with the 2 wingers either side of him. We absolutely hammered them, and we went on a really good run of form that pretty much lasted until Christmas and dragged us up the league. No such luck this year. They reversed the scoreline from last year. They absolutely battered us, and we didn't look great. But I did kind of mix the team up a little bit again. I gave Kala and Dominic Ball a go at centre-back, mainly because we weren't allowed to play the lone players. So they were changes that were forced upon us. Cole Scouse got a rare game as a defensive midfielder, just because I wanted to rest Emir Hughes. He'd played every game up until this point, and I wanted to keep him fit for the league. Likewise, Christensen was rested to give Kundai Benyu another start after how good he was in the first round of the cup, and Sebastian Kirk coming in to make his first start on the left wing in place of Tommy Orr. But we were rubbish after all that. And then our next game in the league was away to Swindon. This one was gutting because we were 2-0 up, controlling the game for so long, but then they pulled one back in the 82nd minute and drew level in the 92nd minute. Hopefully, the 2 of those games combined isn't going to knock the stuffing out of us, because we have been in some really good form. Looking at the transfer window quickly to round things up, there was £96 million spent in the Championship in this transfer window. Some crazy transfers going through, loads of money. Palace have spent £30 million. So expect them to be challenging up near the top of the league. And if we look at the Premier League, £652 million spent in the Premier League. Both Arsenal and Spurs spending some money on a striker, and Rodrigo Bentancur going to going from Liverpool to Bayern Munich, and Chelsea spent £66 million in that window, with Macclesfield being the team that signed the most players at 15. The board are still only pleased with my management. I'm secure in my position. They're really happy with the number of young players that we signed. It's the only philosophy I'm being judged on. So there you go. There was method to my madness in bringing in all those youngsters in the summer. I've got a full bar on my confidence thing, which will hopefully cut us a little bit of slack if league form doesn't go to plan. But we've been doing okay. 5 games in. Yeah, we had that disappointing start in the first live com, but since then we're unbeaten in the league. 3 wins, 1 draw. We're on 10 points. We're only 3 points behind QPR, who are top of the league. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. Also, James Tavernier, 8.34 average rating so far. He's the second best player in the division by average rating at this stage. So the switch from him going from fullback to wingback this season seems to be doing him the world of good. What difference would it have made if he'd have been a wingback all year last year? So, the first of the 2 live comms, we're away to Rotherham. We are still playing the same tactic I played in the last live com, but it is starting to work now, as you've seen from that run of results. Hopefully we'll be able to have a look at it today and it work in at least one of these matches. Pretty much our full strength side, apart from the fact that Tommy Orr is obviously injured. Yaroslav Mika in goal, a back 4 of Knudsen, Zaman, Dane and Tavernier, and then the very familiar midfield 3 of Hughes, Dazelle and Christensen. Delaney on one wing, Ambrose up front, and then Sebastian Kirk. I'm giving him another go as the inside forward, although Keziah Sterling is very much pushing for that starting spot, and if Kirk doesn't put in a performance today, expect to see Sterling starting there for the Charlton game after this one. So, let's get into the match, and hopefully it's going to be another game where we dominate possession, create lots of chances and look really good, because that's how it's been in these games that I'm playing offline. But I know how these live comms tend to work for me, and will probably be rubbish and not score any goals across the 2 games and just generally look like trash, and you won't understand where the wins have come from. Typical. I am just playing on key highlights again now. I know I switched it to extended highlights in the last game. I kept that on for a couple of games just to check that we were playing well on this system, and we were. But I didn't want to leave it on extended highlights for a 2 live com episode, because otherwise we're going to be pushing 40 minutes on the episode, and that is just too long. General feedback on having two live comms in an episode so far has been positive, but I don't want to start getting much beyond half an hour on an episode. Sort of 25 minutes with 2 live comms in is what I'm aiming at, although I usually go a little bit earlier. Over. I know what I'm saying. I'm waffling about all this because there's not been a highlight yet. We're half hour in. I mean, we're doing okay. 66% possession after half an hour. 4 shots, 3 on target. Rotherham haven't had a shot yet. And here we finally get a highlight. Is it going to be surely it's not going to be a Rotherham highlight. I'm expecting us to win the ball back here somewhere, but I think it is going to be them who get the shot. And that's quite a good through ball, and Mika does well to collect that. I'm not sure if that was from their striker's shot or whether that was an odd back pass from Tavernier, but if that was really the first highlight-worthy attack of the match, this has been a really dull match. But they're at it again. They're coming in for another chance, and they have scored now with their... I don't see that that's their second shot on target. I'm not even calling the first one a shot. But that, to me, seems very much against the run of play, which is unfortunate. Mika did well the first time. Is there anyone to blame this time? I mean, it's just a cross. I mean, the 2 centre-backs have let the striker get between them there. They probably should have done a little bit better. I don't think the keeper could have done anything about that. But perhaps a little bit of that inexperience showing from the 2 lads at centre-back. I'm not panicking just yet, because I think we've played quite well. And hopefully this is going to be us pulling a goal back here. Ambrose has got it in an excellent position and does really, really well. I mean, he has made that goal all by himself. And when Thierry Ambrose is in form, that's the sort of magic that we can get from him. Look where he picks the ball up, beats his man, lightning pace shown there to get himself the space to have a shot, and he just tucks it away into that bottom corner. He has done excellently there. Why wasn't he doing that towards the end of last season? I guess he just needed a rest after what was really his first proper season of football. I know he's 24 now, but he's been sort of wasting away in the Man City reserves for so long that I guess it was maybe fitness towards the end of last season. Hopefully it's not the thing I'm worried about, and that's that he just can't handle big games, can't handle pressure. He'll score for fun at this end of the season when it doesn't really matter, but when it comes down to it, he goes missing. I'm hoping that was just a 1-season thing. Right, we're doing well. We've got a better average rating than they have. We've got loads more possession than they have. We've had twice as many shots on target. We've had the only clear-cut chance of the game. By just about any measure, we're playing better than Rotherham are. But it's still only 1-1. So that needs to change, really, because when you dominate a game the way we're dominating this one, you really do need to come away with 3 points. Because otherwise, these are the games that you regret at the end of the season when you find yourself missing out on the playoffs. I'm never going to be over that. Right, Kirk is again having a poor game. Sterling's going to come on and replace him, assuming he does what I'm expecting him to do and comes on and plays well. Expect to see him starting there in the next game. And I'm going to bring Danny Drinkwater on for Andre Dizelle. I have been using Benyu as the box-to-box midfielder substitution, but I'm going to try and share it evenly between them. Drinkwater's coming in expecting to be used in rotation. Benyu has come through the youth team and made his debut this year, so unless he is strikingly better than Drinkwater, I'm going to try and use them fairly evenly, because between the two of them they're probably going to have to replace Andre Dizelle at some point. I'm starting to think if we get a good offer for him in January, if he's still not signing a contract by then, January might be the time to sell him. Right, I'm going to take Thierry Ambrose off. Other than that one moment of magic, he's not having the best game. He's on a booking. And Miraglia has been playing well when he's been coming on and playing in this false nine role. So let's give him 10 minutes to see if he can create a little bit of magic. He scored a beauty with one of his goals he's had this season. Just picked the ball up from nowhere and stuck it in the top corner. That was sloppy defending again there. We've sort of gifted them this whole attack by not intercepting a pass properly, and we've done exactly the same thing. And that's two very sloppy passes, and we've just gifted them a clear-cut chance, and we're very, very lucky to get away with that because we did it twice there. I don't know if that's a little bit of tiredness or just general sloppiness and inexperience from the defenders. But although that last one I think was Christensen, so it wasn't even the defender. That could be a worry. Perhaps we need a little bit more experience back there. And I think, disappointingly, this is going to go down as a 1-1 draw. And it's really a match that, looking at those stats, whatever way you measure them, we should have won that match. So, yeah, I'll agree with that. We were unfortunate today. We played really well. If we play like that every game, we will be in the playoffs at the end of the season. We just need a little bit of luck to go our way. Let's fast forward to the next game, and we'll see how we get on at home to Charlton in a couple of days' time. Right, so we're at home against Charlton now. I've made one change from the team that played Rotherham, and that one change is dropping Sebastian Kirk down to the bench. I haven't actually brought Keziah Sterling in for him, because he's not doing great on his fitness at the moment. But Arba Kraja, the guy we signed in January last year, still exists. This could be a good opportunity for him to establish himself in the side. He looked pretty impressive when he got the opportunity to play last season. So a run of games for him might be exactly what he needs. How old is he now? He's, where are we? He's only 20 years old, but bags of potential. And this might be exactly what he needs to aid him with his development. A few games while Tommy Orr's not fit. We've still got Kirk around there to act as cover for Kraja and Delaney, plus Sterling as well. So lots of options going forward this season, which, if we can keep that going throughout the year, is hopefully going to be a difference maker compared to where we were last season, when we kind of ran out of options. So it's nice to have a few extra players knocking around the squad in attacking positions. But let's hopefully, I want you to see this system working really well. We have played some lovely football at times over the last month. It didn't really happen for us against Rotherham. We played pretty well, but weren't very clinical, were we? So hopefully we're going to get a little bit more of that in match. But as you can see again, I know we're only 15 minutes in, but absolutely dominating possession. I like dominating possession. I love managing a team where we're getting 500 plus passes a game, 80% pass completion. Oh, Mika does really well there. And that's a real shame that they've turned that in. I don't know if Mika could have perhaps done better from the original free kick that's cannoned back off the crossbar, but that save to the follow-up shot was superb. Look at that. No, he couldn't have done anything about that, but he just hits his leg. It looks better in 2D, and in actual fact, he looks like he's just sort of standing in the goal wondering what's going on around him. That's not how I was picturing it when I was watching the 2D stuff happening. I'm smiling. What am I doing? We're 1-0 down, I remember. Was there a sniff of offside from that free kick as well? Probably not. We've not had an attack worthy of a highlight at all in this first half, which is a bit of a problem, but hopefully not an insurmountable problem. Yeah, we've not played well so far. There you go, motivation, fired up, this is what we need. We've still got Sterling there on the bench to come on, run at people for the last 20 minutes. Solo Kraja's done a fantastic job there, beating his man, good cross. Ambrose could have done better there, but we've still got the ball. Tavernier now to Dazelle. Dazelle finds Kraja again. I would have liked to see that make its way out to Jonas Knudsen for a cross. It perhaps did, it perhaps didn't go anywhere. But it felt like that attack wasn't over. Evil match engine. We've still only had one shot on target in this game. We need to do something, don't we? Thierry Ambrose is not having a good game. He's a bit hit and miss in the false nine. I've left him as a false nine because he can do it just as well as he can complete forward. And false nine seems to just, it works a little bit better with this system. But he's not dominating defences the way he was when he was playing as a complete forward. So it might be that we need to switch that up at some point. But we'll bring Benyu on this time for Dazelle, like I say, trying to rotate that around. Interesting that Dazelle is having to come off so often. He's not playing as well as he was last year. His mind might have already left the club. If his form doesn't pick up, we'll definitely be looking to sell him, because it was very rare last season that we had to take him off. But this season, it's every game. He's one of the lowest ratings, and he's getting pulled off the match. So whether he needs a quiet word in his ear to tell him to sort his head out, because I wouldn't pay good money for him as a Premier League club when he's averaging 6.5 or whatever he'll be averaging at the moment from these first few games. We're going to lose this game, aren't we? I've just realised with only 15 minutes left and we're still behind. Why do I ever record matches? Because we're always rubbish when I do. Perhaps I'll start a new series where I just describe what happened when you weren't looking. I bet that'd be a popular series, wouldn't it? Yeah, I won a match, then I won another match, then I won some more. We won the league. Come back tomorrow to hear more about me winning the Champions League. You'd subscribe to that, wouldn't you? We're bringing Kirk on for Kraja. He's not been great. Or do we bring Maraglia on and stick Sterling out there? In fact, that's what I'm going to do. Because I've not been impressed with Kirk at all so far, whereas Maraglia and Sterling have both had their moments so far this season. So a little bit of magic from one or both of them. Again, if you look at our average ratings, they're much higher than the Charlton average ratings. So we are playing well. We're just not creating the chances. Sterling puts Benyu through that, and Benyu hits the crossbar. Benyu is looking like quite a find. I don't know how he's made it to 23 years old without playing for the Ipswich first team. He came through the youth team. Oh, he's older than Dazelle. In fact, that's probably exactly why Dazelle's been in his way for 6 years. But he looks like he's going to be a decent player. Did well for Huddersfield on loan last season in the Championship. Christensen, that could have been in. And we didn't play poorly. We had a clear-cut chance each. It's not a disaster, but it kind of throws a spanner in the run of good form we've been on. That's, if we take Swindon as well, that's now three league games without a win. If you put Southampton in, that's 4 games in a row now we've not managed to pick up a win, I think. We've not won since Watford. So, potentially worrying slide of form there. But if we have a quick look at the league table to close out the episode, I mean, it's not disastrous yet. We're still only 6 points off top of the league. We're only 2 points out of the playoffs. So still very early days, lots to play for. Tavernier has now got the highest average rating in the division, and Christensen is third. Proof that we're playing well. Sooner or later, the goals have got to come, haven't they? If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you pop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on all of the future content. Thanks very much for watching.